What is up? Welcome into this Wednesday episode of Pushing the Pile, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more. A little bit different today. We usually do the mailbag, we usually do the deep dives, but tomorrow is Thanksgiving. We have live football, so we thought we'd bring on Leger to do the full slate preview on a Wednesday. Before we get to that, though, a little first off the ball segment. Shaq Barrett, former All-Pro, 20-sack seasoner for the Tampa Bay Bucks, has filed for reinstatement in the NFL to play. He had retired before the season.
Been there, done that.
And he's been
Tell us about your experience
we have an
doing
expert on staff.
When you step away from the game, you think that you need it because maybe your body, your mind needs that break. You get away from it long enough to get your breath back, and then you say, well, damn, I think I can still do this. As a matter of fact, I know I can still do this. So for a guy like Shaq Barrett, who's obviously still got some juice, it's good to see he wants to get back into the game.
Yeah, and it's an interesting scenario, too, because the Miami Dolphins have to be willing to bring him back. And if not, he can't play the rest of the year. So it's like Miami Dolphins are bust for him right now, which actually, the way the Dolphins have been playing, they have a chance. They have a chance.
And I feel like he has to know that they want him back, right?
Yeah.
You don't just
make that decision.
And then they're like, no, we're good, actually. Shaq, hey, go take it easy. But he was still good last year. 56 pressures on the season, including the playoffs. If you don't believe PFF, he actually had 82.6 pass rushing grade, one of the highest of his career.
He was more of a cap casualty than actually. I think the Bucs really wanted to bring him back, but the money he was making.
He had signed that massive deal after his massive season, and the Bucs just had a lot of massive deals on the books. But the Dolphins, I mean, we've seen the injuries they've had with Jalen Phillips. Bradley Chubb still hasn't been out there yet. Like, they need another guy
for sure
across from one of the hottest edge rushers in the NFL, and Chop Robinson, who's been awesome the last few weeks. They get that. I mean, we said if they can get to 10 wins, and it's very possible with how they've been playing of late.
Lines up pretty good for it.
Right? If they can win this week against the Packers, I think they do get to 10 wins. Still may not be enough. AFC, the wild card picture is difficult, but hey.
It's going to come down to, can Denver continue to play at the level they're playing at? Even the Chargers too, right? Because they have some big games coming up. I believe they're back-to-back with the Falcons and the Chiefs. So, again, we said it before. We'll learn a lot about the Chargers during this 4-game stretch, which started 2 weeks ago versus the Bengals.
It's an interesting thought here with the Shaq Barrett situation. I want to go back to it. It's just how many guys just need a year off? How many guys just need a break? I mean, so often in the NFL, it's like you either get hurt every year, like little things, and they add up after 5 years of a bunch of little things. Like your shoulder hurts, your fingers hurt, your ankle hurts. Now nothing really works. You take that break, you get your juice back, and that's what he'll have. He will have juice when he gets back into a lineup.
Fresh legs.
And you talk about that offense in Miami. You pair him across from that young rusher, Robinson. That's real juice. I mean, and he could be an immediate impact. It would be fun to watch.
The team that sneakily, and I say very sneakily, in potential to go on a losing streak and miss out in the AFC playoffs, to me, is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Because you look at their schedule,
a lot of divisional games.
There is not a win that is like a circle it. We have this left on their schedule. You have the Bengals twice, who are obviously fighting for their playoff lives. You have the Browns, who they just lost to, and then you got the Eagles, Ravens, Chiefs. You got the three of maybe the 5 best teams in the NFL.
That's a trinity, isn't it?
Playoffs have started here for the.
So there's a world where they win 1 or 2 heading into the farm here.
I think that's
6, and that gets them to 10 wins, but that could, depending on obviously tiebreaker situations, not make the playoffs.
I think that's why a lot of people had them, including myself, not making the playoffs this year, because I believe they didn't start off with a divisional game until like week 12. So their whole back half of
just the North.
It's literally the AFC North. Now, again, a lot of people thought the Browns would be better. The Browns actually just beat them the other day as well. And you got the Bengals, who on offense are going to put up points. The thing is, can their defense slow down the Pittsburgh Steelers? And then the Ravens, who they actually just beat right at home. So, I mean, then you talk about playing the Eagles, who are one of the hottest teams in football. These could be trying times for the Pittsburgh Steelers these last couple of weeks. But, again, I think they've given themselves so much cushion. I just feel like Mike Tomlin's going to find a way to get his team to 10-7 at worst.
Yeah. All right. Other bit of news in the first off the ball here. Tyreek Hill. We all remember the week 1 detainment on the sidewalk. Calais Campbell walking by.
How can we forget?
Showing up.
Yeah.
There's a scene from Entourage or Ballers. It was straight out of a Hollywood script there.
Yeah.
At his, I guess, arraignment or whatever it is, cop didn't show up. So charges dropped. No big deal.
Court case, maybe?
He's gotten nothing on the books, and I
Must
don't
have been
imagine
Calais Campbell showing up. Because
I don't imagine the
Massive
NFL
human being.
suspending him or doing anything off of this.
Nah, I don't.
No, it was stupid. It was stupid. It was excessive on both parts. We've talked about this at length. Obviously, it's a shame what happens with some of these traffic stops, particularly involving athletes, and the way that we respond at times is wrong. But I think that the way that the cops responded in that instance was so awful. And I haven't really researched what happened to those guys, but if they didn't show up, it kind of bodes well for what I'm thinking.
All right. This Thanksgiving Day, an NFL on CBS feast features one of the best offenses in the game when the Lions host the Bears. The NFL today, kicking things off at noon Eastern.
Seriously.
Then on Sunday, an NFL on CBS doubleheader is headlined by a showdown between the Eagles and Ravens. Now that's a CBS Sports Sunday. That's all this weekend on CBS and streaming on Paramount+. All right, we're going to take a quick break. After that, going to get to our full slate of Week 12 games.
It's a team almost too good to be true.
You guys ain't ready for us.
Kick your game day off right as the Tops team tackles all the biggest headlines around the league.
Who's got two thumbs and loves this next segment?
Sunday mornings on CBS Sports Network.
All right, before we get to the slate, some news. Our Monday show, the 9:30 a.m. Monday show, is moving to Sunday night, right before the Sunday night football game, in that late window after the 4:30 games wrap and Sunday night football is about to start. We are going to be potting. Kyle will not be there. He will be on the top show.
I'll be on a flight.
But we'll be having a rotating cast on that show Sunday nights alongside myself. So make sure to tune in then. Also tune into the 1 p.m. CBS Sports Network shows on Monday. Kyle will be on those. All right. Locks from a week ago.
Oh boy.
We don't want to look at it. We can take.
There's only one green. The green ink was missing from the printer, clearly, because there's only one mark on
Just disgusting. I don't even have to.
That's tough.
I'm still happy with my record on the season, but it has been dwindling of late. I built up a big lead earlier on, but it's been on life support. Harry didn't even hit his Bryce Young over interception prop. So we all kind of took the collar there. But we'll bounce back this week, and we'll start with Chicago Bears at Detroit Lions. Lions, 10.5-point favorites. 48.5 points is the over-under. But we got some injury news for the Detroit Lions. Taylor Decker, left tackle, going to be a game-time decision with his knee. Carlton Davis, cornerback, going to be a game-time decision as well. The injuries now for this Detroit Lions team on the defensive side of the ball: Aiden Hutchinson, Marcus Davenport, John Kaminsky, Derek Barnes, Alex Anzalone, Ifeatu Melifonwu, and Enos Rakestra. 7 guys who were most of them starters, a couple of them like a base starter or a
big part of your defense,
dime starter sort of player. Massive, yet they're still getting the job done.
Yeah, I mean, that's culture. That's the next man up. And when coaches often say next man up, and we've said this since Aiden went down. I just think the team's going to pick up where he left off, and we've seen it with week in, week out. Another guy goes down. Anzalone a few weeks ago. That list continues to grow. Dan Campbell's got a real culture there. I believe in it. Aaron Glenn, great coordinator, probably should be a head coach.
Oh, for sure.
But week in, week out, they get it done. There hasn't been a team that goes out and kicks ass week in, week out like the Lions. That's why I think that they're the best in the NFL. But I think in this one, it's going to be a high scoring game. I think Chicago will respond offensively. We've seen
another gut punching loss.
The best is always what we get from Caleb at the end of the game when they're down, when they need it. And when they're chasing this rabbit that is the Detroit Lions offensively, you're going to have to match that production. Yep. I think with Thomas Brown and Caleb Williams, they've been a lot of fun to watch the last few weeks. This is the biggest challenge of all. Obviously, the Flores defense was a big challenge. He aced that test. Yeah. It's on to the Lions here, but you have to match production from that offense because, man, oh, man, they're explosive. And what's the plan for Jamison Williams? Who's going to be with Amon-Ra St. Brown? Does Jalen travel? There's a lot of questions here.
When I look at this, I got some information for you guys.
Ooh.
We know the Detroit Lions have probably been the most complete team so far this year, right? A lot of people rank them as the best team in football. For some odd reason, man, they haven't had the best luck on Thanksgiving. Losers of 7 straight on Thanksgiving.
By the Packers.
Yeah, and then when you look at the Chicago Bears adversely, right, they've won the last 4 on Thanksgiving, going 2-2 against the spread in that time. So I don't know what it is because we saw this. This is the same scenario last year. Remember, Green Bay was fighting for their playoff lives, and they came into Detroit and beat the Detroit Lions down. Now, to Mike's point, a lot of injuries on that defensive side of the ball. Aaron Glenn has still been able to put people in places. We saw Anzalone go out. Malcolm Rodriguez, stood up and was really big for them last week. The one thing that is a concern for me, and it was a concern for them last year, was the secondary, right? Vildor came in last week and he was picked on by the Indianapolis Colts, right? So, when you look at the Chicago Bears, you don't think they watch tape. They know Vildor is the guy that most likely will play depending on the injuries to Ennis Rakestraw, depending on if Carlton Davis can actually go. Terrion Arnold is banged up as well.
This is short week stuff.
It seems like Keenan Allen and Caleb Williams are finally starting to get on the same page, right? DJ Moore is starting to get on the same page with them. This could be a game, to Kyle's point, where it is a high-scoring game. 10.5 is massive for a divisional game, especially when you look at the history of the Detroit Lions. So I'm leaning towards Chicago covering the 10.5.
I agree. I really like the Bears in this one. Now, Detroit, for all the hype they've gotten, they've delivered consistently. They're 9-2 against the spread.
They just dominate.
They are insane.
But for some reason on Thanksgiving, man.
I agree. And
that's definitely the message Campbell's sending to his team.
In short week, with how banged up they are, you got to like the Bears. I like the Bears.
The one concern I do have, right, because we saw this last time for the Chicago Bears when they took a gut-punching loss after the Hail Mary. It felt like it took them 2 or 3 weeks to kind of recalibrate.
Hail Mary.
Yeah, recalibrate. We always have this saying in the locker room, Kyle, never let a team beat you 2 weeks in a row.
Mm-hmm.
You wonder, after all the grittiness and fight that it took for them to get back into that game versus Minnesota, and then the opportunity to win it in overtime, and then Caleb takes a bad sack, you wonder where the mental fortitude of this team is on a short week. Now, the good thing is you get to go out there back on the field. You don't have to think about it the whole week. You get to go play. But you worry, do they have a response like they had after the Hail Mary, and maybe Detroit does boat race? And that would be my only concern with Chicago.
And Detroit has done this to football teams this year. I mean, they're one of the only teams in the league that actually has taken that word parity and thrown it out the window and said, we are just the best team. And I mean, Chicago, they need to go out there and match production early. I think it's we saw Caleb's best week last week.
Mm-hmm.
I could see him having an even better week this week in a matchup, understanding the gravity of the situation. The eyes of the football world are upon us, as the coaches used to say.
First game out.
We are center stage.
Yeah.
The people are awake for this one.
For sure.
Okay, like they're going to be sleeping in that afternoon window. They are going to be watching Jared Goff versus Caleb Williams. I can't wait to watch it.
All right, Giants at Cowboys, the next one. This is great nap time for most people.
I love the backup quarterbacks, baby.
Cowboys 3.5-point favorites at home. 37.5 points is the over-under in this one. Not a lot of exciting storylines besides who's going to get the better draft pick at the end of the year.
I mean, the Cowboys are still in this thing mathematically.
And
right?
Just watching the tape of both last week, and obviously like one team won, one team lost, but just to give a shit was like
it was night and day.
The Cowboys were trying.
Yeah.
The Giants were not.
Yeah.
And I don't see that changing on a short week for them.
I mean, I think there's something to be said, too, and you can always kind of gauge the mentality of the players during losses like this, how they are in press conferences. And a lot of things, as a head coach, you don't want to hear your players saying when you got Malik Neighbors, your number one receiver on the outside, saying, I mean, what you want me to do? They don't give me the ball until we're down 30-0. And then he was like, and then the reporter followed it up. You know, what do you think they should do? He was like, I don't know, ask Daves. Anytime a player says, ask the head coach, it's not a good look. And then Brian Burns, you can tell he was just disgusted. Again,
he's like, I thought I left this.
Literally. The thing is, when you decide to bench Daniel Jones, whether he was playing great or not, if the team knows he gives them the best chance to actually win, and you do that and you say it's for the team when everybody knows it's financial reasons, it's hard to look players in the face when you do that. And it's hard for players to go out there and play for you knowing that this was a financially based reason. And essentially we're punting on the season.
Well, it's not
and it could be me next.
DJ too.
I could be the guy that gets shipped next.
It's also, they probably watch backups and like you see Drew Lock versus Tommy DeVito. Yeah. And I'm guessing like they signed Drew Lock for a reason.
For $5 million, but there's a reason why he's not playing.
Yeah. So maybe, but he was the backup all season long. And then all of a sudden you just go to your third string.
But I heard I follow the Jets a lot exclusively since I played there, but I know a lot of guys in that building in the Giants organization. Drew Lock missed a good portion of training camp because he was banged up and hurt. Okay. And Tommy DeVito literally look the part as a backup quarterback. Also, Brian Daboll trusts him because he's run his system before.
As he did last year.
He ran it last year.
2 interceptions.
So Daboll was looking at this like, if the Mars have come out and said, I need to at least compete to keep my job, I don't know what I'm going to get from Drew Lock, but I know what I'm going to get from Tommy DeVito. Yeah. Now, the thing I think he wasn't banking on was how the rest of the team felt about you benching Daniel Jones. And he got his response on the field this last week.
And how Baker felt about Italians, apparently, because he was just...
Wasn't that the most aggressive?
He was aggressive. I got a little Italian in me, and I was a little bit offended. And
that man was aggressive, like good Lord.
But yeah, like you said, the Cowboys, they had fight. And for a team that has had so much going on, they lost Dak Prescott. Seemingly, Jerry Jones is in the news every week saying something ludicrous and absurd. But this team has found a way. So I give credit to guys like Micah Parsons and the other leaders in that locker room who have circled the wagons. And that's the phrase when you're having a shit year. We're going to circle the wagons, lock the gate. It's just us. I think they've done that in Dallas, and
for sure
they have opened the gate in the New York Giants facility. So I like the Cowboys in this one at home.
The great irony of them going all the way to third string Tommy DeVito is that because they signed Drew Lock, that is why they're not getting a Saquon Barkley compensatory pick. Unbelievable irony.
You just twisted the knife.
Yeah, sorry about that, Giants fans. All right, let's get to Dolphins at Packers. Packers 3.5-point favorites. 47.5 points is the over/under, but the Dolphins come in cooking 30+ past couple weeks. Hung tough with the Bills the week before that.
Can they? They're cooking, but can they start a fire in the freezing rain?
That's the question. That is my question.
You got an Islander with a noodle playing in sub 30.
And he said he's hyped for this game to kill the narrative.
Make a narrative.
He's trying to kill it. 17 degrees, I heard, is what it's going to be at game time.
I love that.
Oh, I mean, when you look at this game,
I've had a few of those.
This comes down to Miami finally changing that narrative, not only about playing in cold weather, but playing playoff caliber teams and winning. We remember what the record was last year. It was over. Like, they couldn't be a playoff caliber team. I believe Dallas might have been the only team that they beat at the time last year. So they beat one team last year. That was a playoff caliber team. This has been a narrative with the Dolphins. They beat who they're supposed to beat. But when it comes to the upper echelons of the NFL, they don't get it done. And also, they're a South Florida team that can't play in cold weather. I don't know how many people would have been able to play in that Kansas City game in the playoffs because that was ridiculous weather. But this is an opportunity right now to prove that they can play in cold weather. Now, I will say this. Tua's played extremely well his last 2 times in Buffalo. It wasn't him why they lost the game. The defense couldn't stop anybody. But 17 degrees is different, right? 17 degrees is different.
What I didn't realize until I moved down here was how warm Miami actually is.
Year-round.
It was 212 straight days. It was above 70 degrees.
Yeah.
Here. That it only just a week ago dropped below 70 for the first time since March, which is just like, you're never even chilly down here.
Correct.
So you never even get a touch of like AC is the coldest you feel year round. And 17 degrees is just different.
It's different, man.
If you haven't been exposed to it, your body, and it's not just Tua, it's like the other guys too on that team.
You know what I can't wait to see? How people are trying to be fake tough in pregame and go out there with no shirts.
Shirts on.
No shirts.
No shoes, no shirts, guys. Hacky sack guys.
You're just trying to get your foot cut off?
Who was it that played with you that was like that?
Ooh, I'm trying to think.
Where you were like, man, go put
it's usually always the DBs and receivers.
Always the DBs and receivers. Houston.
He was that guy.
I feel like Braylon Edwards was probably that guy. Was he?
Brandon Marshall was that
still?
Nah, Braylon. Braylon was there with me for 1 year, but he never did that when I was there.
No, he was cold.
Yeah.
Brandon Marshall would do it too. But here's the deal. We're having the conversation about the Miami Dolphins as a team when we say they don't know how to play in the cold. But really, it's that quarterback where it's going to come down to how is he going to be able to handle that. It's at the end of the day, it's the offensive and defensive lines.
Correct.
And when I think about the advantage, I'm going to go advantage to the Green Bay Packers, and they can do it all up front. They can pass protect, they can run block. They've got some guys who can get after the quarterback. And if you have to pump fake, if Halfley shows something to Tua and says, "Here you go, take it," as one of these disguises, and then forces the pump fake, if somebody breaks on a ball, you better be blocking your ass off because they're so used to that ball being out in Miami that Tua could be in trouble. I mean, it's cold. You don't want to touch people when it's 15 degrees. D linemen don't want to get touched. But I know that this Green Bay group has practiced in it all week. They don't care. It's what they do time and time again, which is why I love the Packers in this spot, even though the Dolphins are great right now.
Yeah. You made a really good point, right? We can talk about Tua Tagovailoa and how he's tailor-made for this Mike McDaniel offense. He's never going to go broke taking a profit. The first read is there. He's going to take it. Now, where he's gotten in trouble in the past is where he's taken the first and second read away, and he's got to hold the ball. But the growth I've seen from him this year off platform has been amazing to see, right? We've seen him go through his progressions, actually get outside the pocket and make plays. He's done it multiple times this year. So that'll be something to keep an eye on too, because Xavier McKinney is the best at taking the football away right now for the Green Bay Packers. So if you're Tua, you need to know where he's at all times, right? Because he's a thief in the night. He would come into your house under your Christmas tree, take your gifts away from you in the middle of the night. So that's something to watch this game. And also I think Josh Jacobs has another big game, right? You got to remember, this team played the Detroit Lions earlier in the year. It was ugly. I think it was 30 degrees, raining and everything. And they got Josh Jacobs going a little bit. The only thing is they got down in that game and they had to become pass happy. I don't see that happening in this game, especially with Josh Jacobs coming off 100-plus yards versus the 49ers with 3 touchdowns. I like him to go over his 71.5 rush yards.
Matt LaFleur is so good at scheming up that run, too.
Yeah.
And speaking of scheming stuff up, we know that Mike McDaniel – he likes to work both sides of the field at the same time. He gives the defense a lot to look at. So for Green Bay, I would say the key is just staying home, reading your keys, because when you get over aggressive on some of these pump fake switch actions, the orbit, all that crazy stuff, that's when you get guys running wide open.
A big reason why I like the Packers in this one, outside of the weather, which I think is like the biggest reason to like them, is you touched on where the Miami Dolphins, they attack that area between the linebackers and the safeties.
Yep.
And they're going to test like Xavier McKinney, Evan Williams, but those are two very instinctive safeties.
Very good players.
They read route concepts at a really high level, and that's what you need against this Dolphins team. You saw them just cook in that area against the Patriots last week. I don't think that's going to be the case this year. All right, let's get to the Friday game. Raiders at Chiefs.
Friday.
Chiefs, 12.5-point favorites. AOC, though. Aiden O'Connell's back.
I like the Raiders in this spot, man. When you look at the history, for some odd reason, I don't know what it is. It's not when Vegas plays Kansas City at home. It's when they play them at Arrowhead.
Yep.
It is tough for Kansas City. I don't know what. It seems like my guy Antonio Pierce just knows how to play against Patrick Mahomes in Arrowhead. So you get Aiden O'Connell back this week, right? He's coming back from the thumb injury. Brock Bowers has been on a tear lately. 12.5 points is a lot, especially for a divisional game. And it's not like Kansas City has been blowing anybody out.
I think that's the biggest thing.
I like the Raiders to cover that in this game.
I like the Raiders to cover it, but there's no shot they win. I mean, they don't have.
They won it last year when they had no shot.
They win. They just won't. I mean, they always do something stupid like jump on the logo or it's such a Raider thing to do. I mean,
it is.
I remember being out there. I wasn't even active for the Raiders game, and I was like, "Yo, they're actually like just out there spitting on the logo right now." I went in there. I went straight up to Pat. I was like, "Yo, they're like doing some shit to the logo." He's like, "Straight up." I was like, "Yeah, man. What the hell are you gonna do about it, Mahomes?"
I'll show you what I'm gonna do about it. You remember how they had like a little Chucky doll during training camp?
Bro, the Kermit doll.
Yeah, Kermit. That's what
are
it was.
you doing?
It was like, it'll get handled when it gets handled.
Yeah, we're not worried about that right now. I mean, stuff like that bothers me, and I know it bothers those guys.
Oh, 100%. Anything you can lean on, right, to give you just a little bit more motivation.
Chiefs money line.
Some key injury news. Isaiah Pacheco practiced in full.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Charles Omenihu practiced in full.
I've been waiting for a minute.
Hollywood Brown posted an IG of him catching one-handed pass.
He has posted an IG of something different and cryptic.
Everybody else practiced.
He's like
IG pick.
He's like, a shoe.
He's going to go back out. Like he was going to be out for the season next week.
He'll show up in New Orleans when they get to the Super Bowl.
Good Lord.
We're going to take a quick break after that. Going to get to the Sunday slate of games.
Welcome to JJ's.
I'll have a... Wait, there's no way I can get a burger?
No chance. But you can have the NFL on CBS streams live on Paramount+. Oh, hang on. There's a toy.
JJ Watt, we're talking. Is that dude's? You got a Dick's commercial.
He's got
First off the ball, who's more overstretched, Jason Kelsey or JJ Watt?
Dude, the Kelsey.
And why is the answer?
It's got to be Jason Kelsey.
Yeah, the backlash against Kelsey right now. I saw someone quote tweet like his wife being
That
like,
poor
"I
guy
never want
can't
to see
go
her
anywhere."
It's like, but it is. They're just at some point you see too much of someone and you're like, you get tired.
Well, they're just so pop. I mean, So popular.
Got to lean into it while it's there.
So organic.
Oh,
like, there's nobody who's more himself than Jason Kelce.
I don't know if you saw. He was at a tailgate the other day. He just walks up, beer pong, sinks it, and walks off.
Aura.
Just walks off.
Aura.
Chargers at Falcons. Chargers 1.5-point favorites on the road.
Chargers
47.5 points is the over/under in that.
This is an interesting game.
It is.
Because I think whoever loses this game may not go to the playoffs. And I say that, and it's crazy to think that because Atlanta had such a commanding lead in the NFC South, but the Bucs are getting healthy at the right time. And let's not forget, the Saints are coming off 2 straight wins as well, too. And Atlanta's schedule is way more difficult than the Chargers is down the stretch. But
Chargers tough, though.
I was going to say, like, they have this game and then they have the Chiefs after this. So,
they got
like,
Chiefs, Bucs, Broncos. So they could go 4 straight losses after 5 straight losses.
But that's why I think whoever loses this game may not make the playoffs. Like this, to me, this is a playoff game for both of these teams.
They got bucked off the horse this past game. They got to get back on that horse quick.
Atlanta coming off the bye.
Or that soreness starts to settle in.
Correct. Atlanta coming off the bye. They need to start stringing some wins together because Baker Mayfield and them, again, their schedule lines up a lot. And again, Mike Evans is getting healthy. That run game is really going. The Bucs are nipping at their heels, right? So like Atlanta need this in the worst way, but I think the Chargers do too. So
what's the word with J.K. Dobbins?
It's probably not good.
Not good.
But that's another thing too. Like, so the Ravens are hard to run the football on, but J.K. Dobbins, with his explosive ability, was able to do that.
Yep.
And you saw the offense become kind of one-dimensional when J.K. Dobbins went out of that game. You wonder how that is going forward versus an Atlanta team who really came pass rush. So it seems like Herbert's probably going to have a big day throwing the football.
He's going to throw it 53 times. Kirk's going to throw
because they're going to make sure that they can't run the ball.
That's the thing. Against this Falcons D-line, he will have.
The thing is, will Quentin Johnson get his confidence and catch footballs?
Here's the key on Quentin Johnson, okay? The guy is open more often than not.
He's a freak athlete.
He's a freak athlete, okay? And I don't want to use that word too much, but he really is.
Yeah.
You gotta, if you're the OC, have 4 to 5 plays in your first 15 that get him an opportunity
for sure, to confidence-wise,
to catch a pass from you to me, like, hey, catch it. Here, look. Here's
I would give him an end around on the first play of the game. I give him an end around. Just
get the ball in his hand.
Yeah, get his confidence.
Play Justin Herbert. Just if you're gonna play catch with somebody before the game, just go play catch with
not Jim Harbaugh. Harbaugh's dropping him too.
Yeah, exactly.
Harbaugh, sit your ass over there.
Quentin Johnson, come on. Bring in the lefty.
You have to build confidence because the cavalry is not going to arrive. The reinforcements aren't coming.
Nobody's coming through that door.
So, get him the football. And Justin Herbert just continue to cook. I mean, they had such an opportunity last week. Like I said, it was like getting bucked off a horse, a really big horse named Derrick Henry. But at the end of the day, it's the NFL. You got to go perform this week. And like you said, this is a crossroads for both of these teams. We know how important momentum is. Chargers need to regain that momentum that they had been building for all those weeks.
Who do you guys like in this game?
I like the Chargers.
I kind of like the Falcons.
I kind of like the Falcons too.
I like the Chargers.
I think the J.K. Dobbins injury, and then when you look at this Chargers defense, they've kind of been leaky the last couple of weeks.
They give it up on the ground.
Yeah, exactly. They've done that the whole year, but not only on the ground. Remember that last drive in the 2-minute to Lamar on the 2-minute drill? He was able to pass one for 20-something yards as they fires, and then also the Bateman one. Christian Fulton was in the right spot, just had his head turned around the wrong way. What a catch by Rashad Bateman. But they've given it up a little bit through the air, too, because you go back to that Bengals game, obviously that's Joe Burrow.
Burrow and Lamar Jackson, the 2 best quarterbacks in the league right now, guys.
I mean, Kirk Cochran's can let it fly now.
Yeah, well, he ain't no Lamar. He ain't no Justin Herbert. He's not Joe Burrow.
I like the Falcons. I like the under. I think 47.5. I just think this one ends up in like the low 20s.
I'm going to put the house on Justin Herbert over pass attempts.
Okay. There you go.
I wonder what his number is.
I'm not betting on the game. I will pick the Chargers here, but I will say Justin Herbert will throw it 50 times.
He probably will.
All right, let's get to Colts at Patriots. Colts 2.5-point favorites on the road. Some big injuries for them, though. Bernard Raymond still may not be playing at left tackle. Josh Downs is week to week with a shoulder injury. And then backup center, Tanner Bortolini, unlikely to play with a concussion. So they're on their 3rd string center.
Josh Downs also a little mentally beat up after he did an interview last week about the Lions game. And he said, you know what? Don't be surprised if we keep it closer than you think. And the Lions put it on there.
Exactly. That was hilarious. That was hilarious.
That's a no-go.
The game was a lot closer than I think a lot of people thought.
You guys got to stop going on these damn pods, okay?
Well, it's not the offense that kept it close.
Stop going on these pods. But at the end of the day, look,
Beavers played really well.
We talked about weather being a factor center in Green Bay. Now, I haven't looked at what the temperature is going to be at Gillette Stadium for this game, but I'll tell you this. They've practiced in it all week. The Colts are an indoor team. Anthony Richardson's trying to string together a couple weeks. It wasn't great last week. He had a good one 2 weeks ago. They're going to have to rely on the running game. I think you feel it a little bit more in that cold weather. Also, in addition, Drake May, we got to just protect Drake May a little bit because he presents the most exciting brand of Patriot football that we've seen all year, and he can win this game.
That's what I worry about because the last couple weeks, Latu has been on a tear for the Indianapolis Colts. At sack fumble last week.
Player of the year.
Point of contention this week, a big coaching point this week in New England is going to be how we chip, how we help, because we saw
that's a big point of contention every single week.
We saw last week a couple catapults into the quarterback.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you also got to worry about the DeForest Buckner in the middle. He got a sack last week too versus Jared Goff, so he's a guy that can constantly wreck the game from the interior defensive line. So
I like
the Patriots offensive line is struggling. We see that's your lock plus 2.5. Huh?
Ooh, I like the Patriots.
I like the Patriots. I like the Colts.
I love the Colts in this spot too.
All right, let's get to Texans at
low scoring game. I like the under in this game.
Okay, yeah, I actually do too. Texans at Jags. 43.5 is the over/under.
Trevor
Texans
could be back.
4.5, and Trevor is practicing.
Trevor could be back.
He's practicing.
Uh-oh.
This week. So if he's practicing, that probably means they're going to play him now. Should they play him with, at this late in the season,
and with the Neil Hunter on the other side,
right? And Will Anderson?
Is Will coming back? Is he good?
Leader.
Is he good now?
I believe so. And then
you got to go after the Texans while you can, man.
Get them while they're down.
Get them while they're down.
Get them while they're. The crazy thing is, even if they continue to play bad, they could win this division at like 8 and 9.
It's crazy. Like nobody wants to win it.
They're keeping the Colts in it. They're keeping Jacksonville in it. Hey, Tennessee just won a big game versus them last week.
Levis looks like the best quarterback ever at times.
He looks like the best second-year quarterback.
Yeah, him or Bryce Young.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not sure I love either team in this one, just because the Texans, as we mentioned, they lost the Titans. They have not been playing good ball. They're on the road. Trevor is playing, but I love the over 43.5.
Yep,
probably will.
Everyone's going over on the Jags defense, so I love the over in that one.
But Jacksonville's offenses look bad this year.
Yeah, and I think
no Gabe Davis this week either. He's out for the year.
That's probably good for them.
I'm picking the Texans.
Hey,
I'm picking the Texans. I'm going over.
Okay, I think you saw though, just without Trevor Lawrence, just how inept this offense is from a schematic and talent perspective. Like they just don't have it. He was kind of carrying them.
Yeah.
Anytime they did anything good. So yeah, the Jags.
Evan Ingram should get 10 targets.
Bro, he's such a beast.
He should get 10 targets.
All right, Seahawks at Jets.
Oh, God.
Seahawks.
Okay.
1.5 faves on the road.
Are you surprised it's only a 1.5?
Yes.
Why do they keep doing it? See, this is what irks me. I'm a Jet, but why do they keep giving the Jets these small margins? They're either favorite or they're only it's either a pick 'em by the time the game starts.
Yes. I have no idea why. I just started paying attention to lines this year, and they've
been favored almost every game.
Pick 'em with the Jets every week.
Which is insane for how they've played.
Yeah, well, is it the Aaron Rodgers effect? He could show up and be amazing.
If it's a Thursday night football, but if it's not.
He could not because, I feel
like the Seattle team is going to win this division in the NFC West, and they're getting hot at the right time.
Their defense is awesome.
One thing that I need to put out there, though, and Gino's my guy, you have to stop turning the ball over in the red zone. The Seahawks would literally have 2 or 3 more wins if not for turnovers in the red zone. And he had another pivotal one last week that kept the Arizona Cardinals in the game. You have to understand situational football. You have a chance to go up by 2 scores. You were up 10. You could go up 13, which means they have to score 2 touchdowns. So you have 3 at bare minimum at worst, right? Just don't turn it over in the red zone because I think Mike McDonald has really got this defense playing to his vision, how he had the Ravens playing last year.
Frustrated.
I love how it's positionless football. Leonard Williams was on a tear last week. They moved him up and down the line of scrimmage. And Devin Witherspoon is a freaking beast.
Oh, my God. Love watching that guy play football. And they should be getting Uchenna Nwosu back this week.
Yep,
so
I saw that.
Reinforcements coming for the Seattle defensive line. Yeah, I love the Seahawks. This one. I love the under
Seahawks
this
because
one.
they can score points. We talk about the defense and all this stuff, but I think that their group can score points. They've got real weapons on the outside. They're going to challenge this group that's been challenged not only by opposition, but in-house in the Jets building. They've been questioned all year.
And go ahead, Mike.
I would say past 2 weeks, 6 points against the Cardinals, 17 against
the
the
defense has been
49ers.
cooking.
And then the week before that, 20 in regulation before overtime against the Rams. So,
and they should have won that game too.
So their defense has been
they turned it over 3 times in the red zone.
That's why you hire that guy.
When you look at the Jets too, for some odd reason, coming off extra time, extra rest, buys, their record is awful. Coming off extra time, it is bad.
Think about how bad they are.
It is bad. So yeah, I'm rolling with the Seahawks.
They make a game plan, scrap it, reinvent a new one.
Geno revenge game, Leonard Williams revenge game.
Oh
yeah.
Geno Hopefully he doesn't game. Take one to the chin.
To punch them in the face.
There you go. We're both on the same page there.
Yo, he's coming back with a vengeance.
Jets are, to your point, 3-8 against the spread this year. Only the Titans have been worse.
Yeah, they keep favoring them in games or almost pick them.
Steelers at Bengals.
Love the
AFC North slugfest. It's in Cincinnati, which means
on to Cincinnati.
Multiple arrests in Paul Brown Stadium. It happens every single year.
Really? For this game?
Oh, so this is a big divisional game now.
Insane. Every single year, there's like legitimately
more so than like a Ravens game.
Yes. Bengals.
So
Steelers.
These two are bigger rivals.
Not.
I would say more recently,
bigger.
Ravens is bigger, but when you talk about the grasp of the entirety of it, Cincinnati,
it's
for sure.
It's more hatred.
Remember the Burfict stuff with Le'Veon Bell?
And this is where Shazier had in the stadium is where he got
hurt. Yeah.
So unfortunately, it's just
this
a lot of blood.
He was a great player.
Rivalry, unfortunately, but the Bengals favored. 2.5 point favorite.
As they should be with that offense.
46.5 points is the over.
If Joe Burrow gets the ball last, I'm taking the Bengals.
Yeah. It's the same conversation we had with the Raiders. I'm like, they could cover, but
I do like the Bengals. This one. The worry I have, though, DJ Turner went on IR, broken clavicle. They're on their 5th round rookie, Josh Newton, to start and go up against George.
The crazy thing is, he was playing a lot better. I mean, they benched Taylor Britt a couple plays here and there because Newton actually was coming in playing pretty well.
It's not bad.
So, again, it comes down to can Cincinnati just get some stops? Because that offense, the way it cooks for Cincinnati Bengals, they're going to put up at least 25.
Yeah, I do like Cincinnati in this one.
Is there anybody playing? I mean, Lamar is the best right now, probably. But is there anybody who's like had a full body of work like Joe Burrow this year throwing the football?
Oh, I mean,
not throwing the football
has been as good as Burrow throwing the football.
Yeah.
He has been, in my opinion, like quite easily the best passer.
What a waste of a year, but you can make it worth it if you beat a couple of these divisional rivals.
I mean, they're technically still not in it, out of it. They probably have to win out.
Definitely have like
their backs against the wall.
Yeah, they have to win out
since week 6.
They got to win out.
Back against the wall.
They got to win out,
especially when you have the Steelers twice. So you beat them twice. They drop a few more themselves.
They've already played the Ravens twice, so
there's the outside, very outside, but they're not going to obviously go down without fight.
Pittsburgh better rush that passer well. I mean, that's what we know Pittsburgh for, but they got to get after Joe Burrow if they want any shot.
Like Amir Mims against TJ Watt. Do you think they leave him single blocks?
That's I'm trying to figure out what my
some odd reason they leave TJ Watt blocked one-on-one a lot. I don't understand it.
Part of me thinks of what a rush plan would be, and the other half of me is just anxiety filled. Like, how are we going to get this guy blocked? Yeah, I don't know.
And Herbert had a heck of a game too last week, so he's not easy.
Daniel Jones to sign with the Vikings. Breaking news here on Pushing the Pile. We've got it in the chat here. Daniel Jones to sign with the Vikings.
Him and Sam Darnold together in the same room.
I think, quarterback rehab, right? They already proved that he could do it with Darnold.
I think that's why he did it.
And Darnold has been hampering ankle injury the past few weeks, so it's not like he's a pinnacle of health. So yeah, I think from his perspective, it makes a lot of sense now. Is it? I assume it's just for the rest of this
season. For the rest of the season.
So he gets to go to a place where, again, quarterback-friendly offense that if he is forced into a starting role, it's probably about as good a situation you can be forced into a starting
Think about how much bigger his house is going to be in Minnesota than it was in
New Jersey. But no, there supposedly was an affinity with Kevin O'Connell when it came to Daniel Jones. Supposedly he was a really big fan of his. So, like you said, he already rehabbed Sam Darnold. And you just go back to last year, he had them in contention when Kirk Cochains went down with like 4 or 5 different quarterbacks. So Kevin O'Connell is essentially like a quarterback whisperer. It makes a lot of sense for Daniel Jones. I actually thought he should have signed with the Raiders just to prove that he could still like be a starter. But when you think about it, do you want to go from one dysfunctional place to another dysfunctional place and be in the same place? Now you get it reset for half of a year, maybe even a full year if they maybe resign him. But it's going to be interesting to see what they do with Sam Darnold. Does he just hit free agency because J.J. McCarthy's there? Does Daniel Jones resign and stay with Kevin O'Connell? I think this is a great spot for him.
Sometimes when you're in these bad situations, and I've been in a few of them in my career, it's what you think the rest of the league is like. You just assume that everybody does things this way.
Yeah.
And, San Francisco was where I thought he was going to end up, but this is also a great option because of Kevin O'Connell. And he gets to see what a healthy, productive team looks like. It gets to be in a locker room.
Well, the Vikings, they either rank like first or second every year in that NFLPA report.
He gets to see the best of the best, bro.
Yeah.
Edina, Minnesota, or wherever the hell they are. I don't even know where they are.
Eden Prairie, bro.
Eden Prairie. I bet it's sick.
It's nice there, man. It's nice.
Indoor activities.
I think another thing to look at too is like when you look at Daniel Jones, he really hasn't had a top tier defense. So say he is thrust into action, he knows he can lean on Brian Flores and that defense too as well. If his name or number is called, if Sam Darnold somehow happens,
he thinks Malik Neighbors is good. He starts throwing the ball to Justin Jefferson a little bit,
and he's got Addison and Hockenson.
Addison went
and Aaron Jones.
Week. Hockenson too.
Yeah. All right, Titans at Commanders.
This is an interesting game too.
5.5-point favorites. We should see Marshawn Lattimore's debut. Commanders fans are like, dude, we could have used it the past couple of weeks.
Oh, goodness gracious.
A little too late here, but 44.5 points is the over-under in this one.
It's going to go over.
Yeah. The Commanders are a over team this year.
It's going to be over, and I'm saying it because of Will Levis. I think Will Levis goes out there, slings that pill around like a friggin' madman. Who's the guy, Chigakonkwo?
Yeah.
That his guy?
That is.
I need to get the ball.
One for 75.
Get the ball in his hands and let him go.
Little stop route breaks one for 75.
They got some busted coverage on the back end in Washington. And you said that was the reason he took it 80 yards last week. It could happen again. I mean,
hopefully with Lattimore that doesn't happen now, right? Because you would assume that St. Juice most likely goes to the bench, and maybe they keep an Iganabe inside, or maybe they move Iganabe outside and put Sandstrel. Mike Sandstrel inside where he's probably his best position, but he's been forced to play on the outside. I've been waiting for Marshawn to play because that's literally been their vice this year. Like they've struggled in the back end, and they've been waiting for Marshawn Lattimore to really show up. So it'll be interesting. Does he travel maybe with Calvin Ridley, who went off last week? It'll be interesting.
They're finally letting them do those inside release instead of being like an X where you're outside release running like the vertical tree. They're finally getting them into
across the field.
Yes, those sort of routes, and obviously he's balling on them. The one matchup that worries me about the Commanders is that the Tennessee Titans run defense, one of the best in the NFL. We talked about how teams have figured out kind of what the Commanders want to do on early downs. They want to do quick passing game. They want to run. They want to just keep getting these small gains down the football field to stay ahead of the chains. Take that away, and I think Titans will be able to take that away with how they can play press on the outside and how they can stop the run. You make them really turn into a different team. Now it's just, can adjust and Jane Daniels can be a drop back passer and run a more downfield passing offense, but it's can Cliff adjust and be like, that's the question. Can we open it up?
And
that's the big thing.
That was my question going into this race. When you talk about Bo Nix kind of tightening the reins on offensive rookie of the year, I said the only way Jaden Daniels doesn't win this is because of Cliff Kingsbury. And for some odd reason, when November, December hits, no matter where he's been, teams have just figured out his offensive scheme, and the offenses have not looked good. He's got to have a real heart-to-heart with Jaden Daniels, and Jaden Daniels has to have a heart-to-heart with him. Like, when you watch it on tape, I don't understand why they're not throwing the ball down the field to Terry McLaurin. Like, you did that in the beginning of the year, and plays were being made. Case in point, 86-yarder last week when you needed it the most, down the field to Terry McLaurin. All this dinking and dunking, yes, I love it because you stay ahead of the chains. But to Mike's point, when teams play aggressive press man, guys aren't winning at the line of scrimmage. And even when Terry does, for some reason, Jaden's not looking at him, which, again, he would be number one in my read at every play, every passing play. Like, I'm looking at him first to see if he's a man. If he's a man, I'm giving him an opportunity because he's proven to make plays for me. So, again, Cliff Kingsbury has to adjust his offense, or it's going to continue to look bad for the Commanders down the stretch.
I think if I'm Dan Quinn, I want to lull Will Levis into a sense of false comfort early in the game. I want to show him things at the line of scrimmage. We know that they like to do that A-gap communication with those linebackers. I want the offensive line to get the impression that they're showing and they're dropping into coverage. And maybe in the second or third possession, I want to mimic exactly how we lined up, and I want to bring it. And I want to get Will Levis sped up. And I want to, if I'm the Commanders, obviously I am picking Will Levis and the Titans in this spot and the over. But if I'm going to try to force these interceptions that we know are in there with this guy, I want to lull him into that false sense of comfortability. and then light him up, speed him up in the second and third possessions. And we've talked about it every week. He gets in trouble when he tries to play hero ball. Other than that, when he plays within himself, he's a damn good quarterback.
I do think this one depends on if Lattimore is going to play. If he does play, I like the Commanders. If he's not, I do like the Titans just because that second corner for the Commanders has been such a roller coaster that I wouldn't trust it, especially with how big play the Tennessee Titans offense is. Right? Like, you are a team that thrives on downfield passing, like Will Levis, top 5 in the NFL this year. In that regard. So that's
to that point. Given love the corners, I know we're about to move on. Jarvis Brownlee has played his butt off for the Tennessee Titans. I know L'Jarius Sneed was the one that had the hype and the name and got the paycheck. Jarvis Brownlee is played out of this world for them as a rookie corner.
He was a guy that at the Senior Bowl, you were probably there.
Oh, I was high on him, bro.
Best corner at Senior Bowl. Didn't quite match his Louisville tape. That's why he ended up going in the 5th round. The Senior Bowl tape is translated. He has been a great press man corner.
Feisty guy at the line of scrimmage.
Best corner at the Senior Bowl, 5th round.
Yeah.
I would say Quinyon was the best corner at the Senior Bowl.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Quinyon was the best corner.
Jarvis was probably right behind him, though. Yeah.
Right behind him. All right. Next one up. Cardinals at Vikings. Vikings -3.5. To your point, though, it was a weak Senior Bowl cornerback class that year. There was not a lot of guys.
That's just wild.
A lot of top guys just didn't show up.
Yes, that was Vikings -3.5. 44.5 points is the over/under in that one.
You need a get-right game in the Arizona.
I was about to say Arizona. They get sticky. It's a sticky situation for Arizona.
They were so hot, man.
Sticky situation for Arizona because they got the Seahawks right after this, too.
Yeah. I just don't love the master of disguise in Brian Flores going against the shortest quarterback in the NFL.
100%.
He's not going to see the safety rotations, right? It's just it's difficult for him to do so. I don't know. I like the Vikings a lot.
And Minnesota has to keep pace with the Lions. So it's just this is a bad spot.
And if
for
they
Arizona.
do have answers for the test, I know that tight end in Arizona is going to have a huge game because a lot of
that different.
You throw right where they come from, right?
Exactly.
Right where that level is voided. That's where you get the ball to. Kyler understands that. He's going to have to be really good with the arm angles and getting around a lot of these guys at the line of scrimmage. But to your point, Flores, the things he can dial, the lines of sight that he can eliminate with those on the ball guys, it's tough.
And especially home versus road. I think when you have to force a silent count.
Oh man, especially there.
At home.
Awful.
It's you are
school.
But the tackles, the offensive line has played well for Arizona. So that's their saving grace, that if a good O-line can travel.
Last week, though, Seahawks kind of got the better of them.
Yeah, I was about to say Leonard Williams had to fill in with that O-line last week.
We see a guy like Mailata on the road, that silent count with that rep that everybody saw. You don't see what's happening until you snap your head back outside because we have to look at the ball. So the onus is on those. It's like the damn Vikings are going to come out of the ceiling at that place.
I think this is a game that Kyler Murray has to be intent to use his mobility.
Has to be
intent because he's going to have to make one or two magical plays to pull this upset off. There's going to be a free blitzer off the edge. He's going to have to make them miss, and hopefully they're in man coverage and he takes off for 40 or 50. He's going to have one or two of those.
5.5. Minnesota -5.5.
I agree. I mean, I like the Vikings a lot.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. All right, we're going to take a quick break after that. Going to get to the 4 p.m. slate, Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football, and then our locks of the week after this.
Too much orange. Too much orange.
All right, Bucs at Panthers. Bucs 5.5-point favorites on the road. 46.5 points is the over/under, but the Panthers aren't.
I like the Panthers to cover this game, man.
David Alice knows some stuff,
bro. He had Baker Mayfield, so they just been playing. It's inspiring football.
Dave Canales is going to be in some defensive meetings.
I actually think they should have won that game versus the Chiefs the other day. My thing is, you just have to understand Patrick Mahomes in game-ending situations is going to be mobile. You have to understand
and
that.
He's not going out of bounds.
He's not going out of bounds, bro. So it's just they had the world champs on the ropes last week. Chuba Hubbard didn't have a crazy game, but when they needed him late in that fourth quarter, physical run for a touchdown. Bryce Young had his best career game to this point. The anticipation he was throwing with, knowing that he was going to get hit right in the chins, that corner route to Dave Moore that he threw in between the numbers while taking a hit in the face, That's big time football.
And a couple of the balls they didn't even come down with.
That's what I'm saying. Xavier Glad, David Moore had 2 massive drops in that game.
That was Thielen in the back right of the end zone too, right? Was that Thielen?
Yeah.
Beautiful ball.
Yeah.
Like these
force the PI, yep.
You know, you kind of look like Caleb Williams out there.
I like Carolina in this spot, man. I like Carolina to cover. I think the Bucs will win the game just because.
I knew you like that, Mike.
Because the three-headed monster that the Bucs have running the football.
Yep.
And I know you're not accustomed to, talking about the Bucs and running the football, but they do a good job. Liam Cohen has done a masterful job in regards to giving 2-back sets, getting most of his better weapons out there, because there's a deficiency at receiver. So he's like, why don't we get some of our other playmakers on the field at the same time? And Bucky Irvin and Rashad White and then Sean Tucker getting them in multiple 2-back sets has been masterful for Liam Cohen. And then Baker Mayfield's just been so super efficient with the football.
Nobody's better at quick game, like you said. Efficient with the football, but also quick game. Like Liam puts options in front of Baker, and Baker has the wherewithal to understand, like, get it out of my hands here.
I'm not sure I love either side, Bucs or Panthers, because I think at the end it's going to be like a touchdown game, but because of Bryce Young's emergence, which I fully believe in after seeing what he's done the past couple of weeks, so like he's not going to go lay an egg here against the Bucs. I love the over though, because the Panthers defense is still the worst in the NFL.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's still terrible, and 46.5 points is not that much.
They put up 30 last week in Carolina, right, and lost. That's crazy.
So, or they put up 27. Chiefs had 30. But like they could score now, and because they could score now, I think we're going to see a lot of overs from the Panthers down the stretch here, because that defense is still.
I was about to say, and even Tampa Bay secondary is still a little suspect too. So
they've been in some high scoring shootouts.
Yes,
a little suspect.
All right, Rams at Saints. Rams are 3-point favorites on the road. 49.5 points is the over/under in this one.
Which lets you know I think there's going to be a lot of points scored in this game.
An absolute got to have it for them.
Well, the Rams, they can throw the football. The Saints, they can run the football. They've got some good run blocking guys. And what do the Rams have up front? They got good pass rushers, but guys that can get rolled off the ball. We saw it just the other night. So I fully anticipate for the Rizzler to press the run button in Kubiak's offense.
Every time you say the Rizzler.
The Rizzler.
What? You don't like it?
No, it's just I actually think of the Rizzler.
Like a 6-year-old chubby kid with a headset. He was like, just because I'm the Black Panther doesn't mean I can go up to the left.
Real talk, this is a tough spot for the Rams.
I agree.
Because the Saints have been almost unbeatable at home the last couple of games.
Ball.
But then MVS, getting down the field, right? Derek Carr has got a real rapport with them for these last couple of weeks. He's essentially taken over that Rashid Shaheed role in the offense. The Saints offense with Taysom Hill, and then also when you talk about Alvin Kamara and how he's been able to run the ball as well, and then the threat of throwing it down the field with MVS's speed. And that defense has actually played really well the last couple of weeks. Like, this is a really tough spot for the Rams. I actually like the Saints to cover this and maybe, put some money on the money line for the Saints.
I think I'm in for that. Let's maybe we split. Saints. We should go to the Hard Rock or wherever.
The Rams, though, this one, I'd say it's a must-win because
it's a must-win for them.
Bills on tap next week.
Yeah.
Then they go to the 49ers, to the Jets, against the Cardinals, against the Seahawks. So if they don't win this one, basically
they got to
win out. Sweep the division.
They got to win out.
Yeah.
Do you think Sean McVay watches a guy like Taysom Hill and he's just like, God, I wish I had him on my team. Like, he could just do so much on and off. Like,
he has so many weapons already.
Yeah, but I mean, you added Taysom Hill, man.
That's true.
I wonder how many guys
they want to collect like toys, bro. That's all they want to do.
How many guys are there in the NFL that could throw at a Taysom Hill-esque level that are just like position players? Because he's not like a good thrower of the football, but he's
adequate enough.
Yeah. Like, how many guys are there around the league that if they just got the chance could?
Well, when I played
Mark Andrews, baby,
5 tight ends I played with that played quarterback. It's like, Travis Kelce could have done it.
Yeah.
Zach Miller was a tight end I played with that could do it. Trey Burton was a Urban Meyer.
Yeah, but he was a quarterback. Yeah.
So there's a lot of these guys.
I don't know if any of them have the athletic ability and strength that Taysom Hill.
Yeah, I mean, as a runner,
as a runner, you know what I'm saying?
But he said throwing.
But just the threat of, hey, we'll just line this guy up at QB in random situations.
You got to respect him throwing it.
That you then have to respect
Tebow
the throwing.
Did the same thing.
Tebow basically was that.
I had somebody that coached with on staff with the Broncos that said one time they asked Tebow if he was left-handed.
He is left-handed.
No, but they're like, "Are you sure?"
Yeah.
Oh no, that's crazy.
I was like, "You didn't get slapped by?"
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Hey, try throwing it with your right hand.
Maybe we should try the other hand.
Kind of did look like it was not a good motion.
So we're all riding with the Saints.
Saints,
Don't
the
say that
Rizzler.
around. Don't say that around Skip Bayless, though.
Say the Rizzler.
The Rizzler. And the points. All right. Eagles at Ravens.
Ooh, this is the game of the week. Got to be.
Ravens 3-point favorites. 50.5 points is the over-under in this one. The two leading rushers in the NFL. There's only been 4 seasons all time where a running back has averaged over 100 yards per game and over 6 yards per carry. Jim Brown, O.J. Simpson, Barry Sanders, Adrian Peterson, Saquon and Derrick Henry are both doing that this year.
Mm-hmm.
And truthfully, it would take a big upset for either not to end. Like, they'd have to go in the tank down the stretch. Now, maybe the yards per carry, they might.
Oh, Josh Jacobs, if he has a massive game, he might catch him. He might catch him.
So
he's had a 280-yard performance before.
Brandon Graham, though,
for 300 on Sunday.
Yeah, he was actually playing really well, man.
He might be done. 36 years old, tore his triceps. He's out for the year. He was
put that brace on and get it out there.
One of the most underrated edge rushers.
If there was anybody who would
put that Ray Lewis brace on and get out
there. Don Joy on there,
you know what I'm saying?
Graham was truly like one of the most underrated rushers of the
I love Brandon Graham. What a
competitor. He found a youth this year, the way he was playing.
What a competitor. What a good dude. Great teammate.
And he sat for years. Like, he signed a second contract while he was still a situational rusher.
Correct.
When he should have been like a starter. Anywhere else, he would have been a 800 snap.
Your guy's fault, man.
Who's that?
Chip,
yeah.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Where'd he stand on that one?
I love Chip Kelly.
Put Colin in a real uncomfortable situation.
We won a lot of games with Chip Kelly. A lot of tongues were out on defenses because of that offense. And you know what? If the grown-ups in the NFL didn't want to do the same offense, then so be it. They didn't want to win that bad.
But they were winning before he got there.
Go look at Nick Foles' stats his first year with Chip Kelly.
Yes. He won a Super Bowl without him.
Hey, but go look at it. Go look at it. I think he never had a year like that again. Am I right?
Oh, not even close.
Yeah.
40 touchdowns, 3 interceptions or something like that?
That's true.
28.
That's true.
Come on, dude.
Right.
My rookie year, Chip was the Eagles coach. So, Chip coached me my senior year at Oregon, and then I left, and we both left for the league. They beat us like 50-0, bro. I was like, can I get traded in the middle of the year to my college
and your rookie quarter?
Because he was so good.
It was 27-2.
In 27 touchdowns,
starts,
2 interceptions.
in only 10 games, so almost 3 touchdowns.
Are you kidding me?
That's insane.
And then he never even came close to that until
the 17 year.
Yeah, until the 2017
During the playoffs in 17, he was playing out of his world.
BDN.
Getting back to this Ravens-Eagles game. I mean, to me, this is the game.
I was like, what game are we on? Yeah.
So far away.
When you look at what the Eagles have done, was it 6 straight or 7 straight? One of those.
I think it's 7.
Baltimore needed that win versus the Chargers, right? Just because they knew the Eagles were coming to town. And Lamar Jackson has owned the NFC. He has literally owned them, right?
Basically anyone knew.
It doesn't matter who it is. It could be the 49ers, the Eagles, the Lions. It don't matter. Lamar Jackson owns it. And until that is proven otherwise, I'm taking the Ravens, even though I think the Eagles are probably one of the top 3 teams in the NFL right now. Until somebody can show me from the NFC that they can beat Lamar Jackson, I'm taking the Ravens.
I think they finally
got
a super team together.
Like last time they had a super team together,
they put a super team together. They may not win the Super Bowl, but they can beat Superman, I think, in this one. So for the Philadelphia Eagles, it's stick to your blueprint of dominate the line of scrimmage. You could do it blindfolded. I don't care if we play in the Walmart parking lot. We used to have a coach that said that.
Yep.
We're going to line up. We're going to run what we run. Can they stop us? That remains to be seen, but I don't think so. Now, it comes down to that defense. Philadelphia's defense. Can you stop Superman? We know we can probably match production with our offense, but do we have answers? Is he going to drop the ball in the bucket to Rashad Bateman in the corner of the end zone like he did last game? Is he going to be Mr. Incredible? That's what we have to wait and see.
I will say this, right? Because when you look at the offensive line from the Philadelphia Eagles, it's one of the best offensive lines in football. The Eagles' defensive line played the Chargers, which is one of the better offensive lines in football. They got after Justin Herbert. Like Van Noy and them guys, Namdi Matabike, they got after him. So it'll be interesting to see that matchup, right? Especially with Brandon Graham being out now as well.
But that means a young guy gets to come up and fly around.
I mean, they drafted what's 58's number, Mike, that they drafted from Houston Baptist.
Oh, wait, J.Alex Hunt?
Yeah, he'll play more. right? They got the kid from Georgia last year.
Nolan Smith.
Nolan Smith will be on the outside. He'll play a lot more. And they still got the Sweat Man. You know what I'm saying? They still got the Sweat Man. Josh Sweat is out there. So this will be a game that will literally be won in the trenches because these are one of the, if not the two best, besides Detroit, two best running teams in all of football. This is going to be a physical in the trenches type game.
I feel
the Ravens, though, we said it about the Rams and their light-ass D-line. The Ravens got some big boy. Travis Jones is a big boy in that defensive
he's a dog
line.
up front.
They are still the second-best run defense in the NFL.
Without a doubt.
I think they can at least stymie
this is
the
unstoppable
Eagles. In terms
force.
of, I think Saquon maybe hits a couple home runs or hits a couple big ones.
If you cover these guys up, you don't need to push them off the ball. Cover them up. Saquon's like,
I think it's a Jalen Hurts run game. Just because when you look at the Ravens at the linebacker position now, my guy Malik balled out last week for them, and starting for Roquan Smith, we'll see where his health. We'll see where his health status is. But Trenton Simpson has not been the guy in regards to being the standard where Patrick Queen was at, right? So like this could be a scenario where maybe they decide, Kellen Moore, let's go more pistol, let's go some zone read, see if we can get Jalen Hurts on the edge against some of these linebackers and get some yards there. I think it's going to be tough sledding for Saquon against this run defense.
I feel like sans the Lamar factor of every time he plays the NFC, I would love the Eagles in this.
Same.
I just think
that's what I'm trying to tell you. Like
matchups work.
Until Lamar shows me he can't beat the NFC.
My heart says that just
he's
Lamar
the X factor.
Is if it's going to be a quarterback game, and I think both teams will end up stopping the run and make it a quarterback game. It's like, who do I trust more this year in the quarterback game? It's Lamar. It's not even close. All right, on to Sunday Night Football. 49ers at Bills. Bills 6.5-point favorites at home. 44.5 is the over-under. Brock Purdy only light throwing on Monday. I don't know about you guys, but that sounds like
light throwing sounds like no, sir.
The guy who's my starting quarterback, Dominic Puny, getting an MRI on his shoulder this week.
Wow.
Diomedor Lenore getting an MRI on his knee this week.
Yeah, it's not going to be good for them boys. It's not looking good for them boys.
Bermuda, Bahama, come on, pretty mama.
Cancun on three.
Why don't we go down to Kokomo?
I know. I said this 2 weeks ago. They were cooked. It was over with for them, man.
There's a good chance Matt Milano plays this week, too.
Oh, God. They are coming off the bye. Yeah, the Bills coming off the bye.
Milano is a football psychopath, and I would hate to be the guy carrying the football when Milano makes his virgin steps on the 2024 season because he's an animal.
He's a virgin
he's going to be like...
Bills win, the Dolphins lose. The Bills win the East.
Which is crazy.
They already get the East.
Like, it's not even December, bro.
They will have clinched it before.
That guy, Josh.
I'm not going to lie.
Sunday
I'll be the first one to admit I did not see this from the Buffalo Bills. I did not see it. With the overturn on this team.
That this is their best season yet. Like, truly.
Which is crazy.
Addition by subtraction, some would say.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I do think,
it's a tough
if you have a good read on Purdy not playing, and if he's only lightly throwing on a Monday, there's a rough chance that he plays. And it's like, it's his throwing shoulder. Even if he does.
Can I change my lock? Yeah, I'm going to change my lock.
To the Bills.
I like the Bills.
Freddie's like, contract year? Yeah.
Let me text Harry.
It's not right. Let me
I can sign for $50 million this offseason.
Yeah, let me not go ahead and put myself in harm's way.
I do think if
we
you're
read
out,
off his sponsors yesterday. Was that you and me reading his sponsors? Go ahead, name a couple of them off because this is like all American sponsors.
Let me look
Purdy.
again.
Yeah.
Ariat,
which makes like boots and
Ariat, which is a boot company, John Deere, Pioneer Seeds, which is a corn seed company, Buffalo Wild Wings, Alaska Airlines, and Toyota.
He's the all-American boy.
Dude. He's got a piece of wheat sticking out of his mouth right now.
Literally. With a little cowboy hat.
He's light tossing with the wheat in his mouth.
Facts.
He's actually throwing seeds from his own company.
Oh, my God. All right.
Moving on.
So let's get to Monday Night Football. Browns at Broncos. Broncos 5.5-point favorites.
Too much orange.
41.5 points is the over-under. But you're probably getting a Jameis Winston pregame interview, which is amazing. Which means that the Browns are going to win.
It's at Cleveland, right?
No, it's in Denver.
Oh, okay.
If you get a Jameis Winston pregame interview, you're basically
wait till he finds out that Denver also has horses that prepare for battle. And they have red eyes.
Victories of the Lord. I mean, he's just amazing, right?
I've known Jameis Winston for a very long time.
He's
and let's just
amazing,
say
man.
he's a good man. He's a good
Great
man.
dude. It has to be one of the greatest teammates.
But I tweeted out the other day, Jameis, we get it. And people attacked me for
You don't come at Jameis. You don't come at Jameis.
I didn't attack
Captain,
Jameis.
my captain.
I didn't attack Jameis.
Captain, my captain.
I attack
Don't come at
premeditated Hollywood speeches.
Sometimes
I think they're corny.
That's what hits.
Some guys, we call him corny. Jameis.
He's a guy's guy, man.
Baker's a guy's guy.
It's probably not corny is because he's saying that in the locker room too.
100%.
Saying it for the camera.
I have no doubt that that's how he
has
is
a
in the locker
mantra
room,
that
in
he's
the
coming.
huddle. He's telling secrets in the huddle. People like that. First, yell the play.
Did you see him the other day? Will somebody just jump on side? You gotta love Jameis, man.
I've been hyping the Broncos all year. I think Bo Nix is well beyond his years as a rookie quarterback.
He
I like the
is.
Browns in this one.
I love Bo Nix in this one, and I think he could try to out Jameis in an interview.
This is my thing.
That's
no one
my
can out
like
Jameis.
lock of the week.
If you're trying to out Jameis,
Bo will make a point to be Jameis-ish in an interview.
Kind of like Baker did the.
I don't know.
This is the only thing. Did TJ Watt wake up Myles Garrett last week?
By
If that's the
I had
case,
that quote. He's like, "I'm the one."
he definitely did.
I'm the
Because if
one.
that's the case, I feel bad for Bo Nix this week. He
Bro,
just woke
who
him
would it
up.
be? No, it's not Garrett Bowles. Who's over there on the right side?
right side's McGlinchey. But
Glitchy.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
I
that'd
mean,
be
he
tough for
rushes
McGlinchey. He
off.
rushes on both sides
Yeah.
though.
But I'm saying you're most of the time going to be on Mike McGlinchey.
Yeah, which is tough.
We'll see. I mean, I think he spends more over left tackle.
Really?
Yeah.
He's more of a right
Talking
end.
about.
He'll
I'm
be
thinking,
over
I'm thinking
Bowles.
about TJ
You're
Watt
thinking
here.
about
Yeah,
Watt.
TJ Watt definitely goes
I'm
against
like,
the right
hold
side.
on a second. That's not right at
No,
all.
Myles Garrett will be over
Myles Garrett.
Bowles.
Yeah.
My neck was
I
stuck.
don't care
Like,
who he's over.
my
now.
neck was stuck like
Doesn't
this
really
one week
matter.
because I was just staring at TJ Watt the whole game.
That man say,
I'm like blocking a three
Yeah,
technique,
you're
and I'm just
this-
like,
"Do you think TJ apologized?" Of course he did.
no.
But what do you? If you were Myles Garrett, do you make a point? What's up, bro? Good game. Well, I'm fine.
Bro, those two.
I'm the one.
They're like, that's what
But
Hall
we
of Famers
remember
look
we
like.
did this thing, but we did this thing breaking down them too. And I asked multiple offensive tackles, who would you rather go against? And all of them said
TJ.
TJ Watt.
Yeah.
Because that's lets you know how freaky Myles Garrett is.
Yeah.
For the Broncos, though, maybe no Zach Allen and definitely
They
no
didn't have him
Riley
last
Moss,
week.
who had an MCL tear or
Yeah,
partial
now
tear.
that is a
So that
major
one's big.
blow. That's
Yeah.
big because I mean Levi Wallace came in and played really well, but Riley Moss was playing at a Pro Bowl level. Like
Yes.
people always talk about Pat Surtain, but not only him, Jaquan McMillan in the slot has played at a high level as well. So having all three of those guys has allotted this defensive line to lead the league in sacks right now. So not having Riley Moss is massive. Levi Wallace will steal the ship until Moss comes back.
They're going to take care of the football. Just like the other week when I said when the Steelers played the Browns, I was like, the last thing you got to tell your quarterback when he leaves the sideline is remember, it's Jameis. Like you have to understand that the ball will be on the ground. The ball will be in defenders' hands. So for Bo Nix, take care of it. Rely on your surefire guy. Cortland Sutton's been awesome in this offense. But take care of the football. You know that the Browns are good for a turnover.
You don't have to tell Bo Nix to take care of the football. He's been doing it.
He's done a really good job the last 2 months.
If I'm Sean Payton, I'm grabbing him before he gets there. Hey, Bo, I know that you do, but just
You saw what he did. Get your hands. Get your
don't talk to me,
hands.
coach. You ain't my daddy.
Hit him with a Dizel. Get your damn hands
when
on
those
me.
two go at it, I'm like, yes.
Have
They
you
love each other,
Have
bro.
you seen that
100%.
video of Steve Sarkisian telling?
Oh, the get back guy, yeah.
like that.
That was a bit extra. That was a bit extra. That man just trying to do his job.
Sark, we get it.
We get it. Hands on me.
I will knock you out. I swear.
Get it.
Did they win or lose that game?
I'm in my
That was a couple
windbreaker.
years
Don't
ago.
touch
I
me
know,
right
right?
now.
I
Yeah.
can't remember. All right, let's get to our locks of the week. Leger, kick us off. Get your feet wet. Your debut. Who you got?
Yeah, so I'm taking Josh Jacobs. I talked about this earlier, over the 71.5 rushing
Love that.
yards. It's going to be 17 degrees, which means they're going to run the football a lot. Also, I like the under in that game because of the weather, right? 47.5 points. I'm taking the under in the Green Bay Miami game. And I like my lock of the week. And I know it's tough because it's going against my Jets, but Geno revenge game.
Emotional hedge.
Leonard Williams revenge game.
Yep.
Seattle -1.5. They have played really good football the last few weeks.
All right, mine. I have the Vikings minus 3.5 against the Cardinals at home. I have the under in that Seattle Jets game. As I said previously, Seattle defense of late been outstanding. And I think the Jets, what they can do is they can go man-to-man against those wide receivers for the Seattle Seahawks.
They're going to struggle this year.
And then Brock Bowers.
I have him
going over 61.5 receiving yards.
One.
Last game he played with AOC, he had 11 targets, 71 yards, 9 catches. So either that one or over 6.5 receptions. Any way you want to slice it, I think he goes over that number.
I got Philadelphia +3. I just love them in this spot. I really do, and I'll take any points I can get. New England +2.5 at home will be a lot of fun. I'll be keeping my eye on that one. And Josh Jacobs, just like Leger said. I mean, that's going to be.
I think I'll get on my app and get in that one.
I might have to get on that too.
Get on that. I think we got
17 degrees. He's going to get about 25
He's
carries.
got Achane for an anytime touchdown.
Harry going full homer. I actually do like that one, Achane. The Packers.
Harry probably mad at my bets because they're all against the Dolphins.
Harry found a way to get the Post-it note to be Dolphins colors too.
He ain't dead.
So many options.
There you have it. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back, as we said, on Sunday now. The Sunday night show, 7:20. It's just out of habit of saying Monday. Sunday night show. It'll be me and John Breach this week. We'll see who's on weeks after that. But Sunday night, 7:20. Make sure you guys tune in. Until then, go Irish. Beat us.